It's time to take some questions. We have a question today from Shadow. It's on lunges, triceps, extensions, and outer thighs. Cathe, I have some questions for you. One, on the 45-degree lunge, should your knee be pointing straight forward or should it angle to the side? Actually, I'll just demonstrate and take a question at a time. So, for the 45-degree angle, you want to keep your hips squared to the front, and your lunge will just be, if going forward was 12 o'clock and behind me was 6 o'clock, you would want your lunge to be between 1 and 2 o'clock. So this leg stays straight, that's the support leg, and the leg that's lunging forward comes out to about 1 or 2 o'clock and angles just like that. Okay? So instead of going directly forward, you keep your hips forward, but your body angles out to the side. Okay, so let's take your next question. On the flat bench tricep extensions, if you do not have a barbell but you're using dumbbells, should you hold your hands with the palms facing toward the ceiling like you would with a barbell, or should your palms be facing each other? Okay, great question. I get that one a lot actually, and overall, all variations are always good because, as we know, the whole point of muscle confusion is to show the body different ways to do things and shock it a little differently. But if you were going to have dumbbells, and I'll just take these little light ones right here and take it to the floor. If you were doing you'd be on a bench, obviously. If your hands were in the same position as they were for the barbell, it might not be as comfortable, but it is doable. But traditionally, if I have dumbbells like this, I'm more comfortable keeping my hands in a hammer grip position. But just so you know, there's even another variation, which I haven't done with you, and that's to have your palms facing you as you go up. Okay, so if you want to try that one for variation at times, you can do that as well. But most typically, I will traditionally be in a hammer grip position because it's the most comfortable, and I feel that I'm more powerful and I can use a heavier weight with my hands in that position. Okay, I think you had one more question. And that is, on the lying floor work for legs, inner and outer thigh, should your foot remain flexed at all times? I'm usually so busy focusing on the leg muscle being worked, I tend to forget about what my foot is doing. Okay, so for inner and outer thigh, actually that really isn't that. Many times what we'll just do, because it seems like those reps go on and on, we'll flex for a while, and then we'll point, and then we'll flex and point as a way to just kind of give your mind that, okay, now we got that section done and that section done. So what you want to do, the main thing for you here, it would be to keep your hip on top of hip, shoulder on top of shoulder, and knee on top of knee. And you're either going to flex it or point it. Now, the time that it would matter what position your leg's in is if we're doing something like we want to target inner thigh more. Well, then you would want your foot flexed out so that you recruit more inner thigh as opposed to the toe being up, which would get more quadricep. Of course, this way is still getting quadricep, but it's shifting the focus to the adductors a little, your inner thigh. Okay, I hope you found that helpful. The next question is from Kelly Pierce. Hi, Cathe. STS is all I had expected and more. Meso 2 is awesome, and Meso 1, I look forward to every workout. However, I have 2 questions because I want to make sure I get the most out of each program. First, I have done many seated rear delt flies with you in other programs, but always with light weights. Now that I'm pushing myself with 70% of my 1 rep max, I am beginning to question my form on these. I became so focused on it that now I'm to the point of confusion. Could you please go over form for the seated rear delt fly so I can be sure to keep good form while using heavy weights? That would be great. Sure I can, Kelly. All right, I'm going to give you a side view because I think that will be more beneficial for you to see the angle of what I'm working on. I'll go catty corner as I sit on it so that I have greater range of motion. If you're sitting on a chair and your arms are at your side, sometimes it kind of feels like the chair might get in the way with the dumbbells. So I like to go catty corner so that I can hinge over and then have freedom for my arms to move. The main thing you want to do here is start out sitting tall and grab your weights. But you are right, you will probably need to go a little lighter for rear delt flies because of the angle of the position and because it's isolating a smaller area, a less powerful area of the shoulder because of the position that you're in. So it's very natural to go a little lighter there if you need to. Form always comes first. So we're going to pick up our weights, And the more parallel you can get to the movement, or your chest parallel to your thighs, the more it's going to oppose the actual rear delt muscle. And what I mean is that if you're up at a 45-degree hinge, which is acceptable and a lot of people do, you're going to still hit the rear delts. But if you can go down a little lower so that the gravitational pull is directly over the muscle or beneath the muscle, so that when you pull up, now you feel where the gravity of the movement is. Now your rear delt is right behind that movement, so you're really exhaling and pulling up. Now in this motion, you want to keep your head in good neutral alignment and your core turned on, and your arms are going to come out to the side and down. Now if your weight is a little heavier, you can put a little muscle behind it and get it up, and you're going to find a little head movement occur from that. That's okay, but what we don't want is this kind of flying action, okay? So keep the body and core in good alignment, the head in good alignment. Take those arms out to the side and down. You can even get a peak contraction at the top and hold it there. You want to exhale on the exertion, which is right here, and down, up and down. Now, I'm going to put the weights down and just explain the arm movement here. When the arms come up and out to the side, you want to bring them up to shoulder height, and you want your wrist and your elbow in alignment with the shoulder. You don't want the arms flying back like wings on a plane and coming up like this behind you, because that's going to kick in the triceps. So you want to keep them directly out to the side. You want to keep a soft joint so that you don't stress your elbow joint, and you never want to lock out at any time anyway. So exhale, lift. As you get to the top of the movement, make sure your wrist, elbow, and shoulder are all aligned up, and come back down, up and down, just like that. Okay, hopefully you found that helpful. Now I think you had a part 2 to your questions here. And that is, in Meso 2, Disc 13, I found myself working to failure and really struggling to finish the last few reps in each of the 3 sets of upper body drop sets. It was awful and awesome at the same time. But in Disc 14, I found that I was only struggling on the last set of 10 in the trisets for legs. Should I up my weight in the leg program so that I'm pushing and struggling to complete the last reps in each set like I did in upper body? Or is what I'm experiencing appropriate? A little bit of both. What you want in the 10 reps of each of the tricep exercises, you definitely want to be challenged. But you don't want to be so challenged that you actually are so much to failure that your form suffers for the second exercise. The whole purpose of the tricep philosophy is to bring volume and lots of blood flow into the leg muscles so that we can get that hypertrophy effect. Now, knowing that most of us at home cannot train because we don't have a spotter or we don't have assisted gym equipment to get the heaviest weight we can select, we've chosen intensity methods to bring that same hypertrophy effect to you. So the first one was muscle endurance phase, where we did a lot of the new exercises and higher reps. Now with the triceps, what we're doing is we're decreasing the reps, but we're bringing you a lot of 10 reps of this, back off, get another position, 10 of that and 10 of that. So your legs are so spent, but by the time you get to the last rep, which is at a 30 rep mark, there is so much blood volume in the legs that it's encouraging hypertrophy. So yes, you do want to go heavy enough that you're challenged, but not so heavy with each of those 3 sets that you can't even get to the last one because your form is suffering. That's a wrap for this session. I hope you learned a lot. Up your weights to 75% of your 1 rep max next week and experience those back off sets. We'll see you next time.